Hello, everybody. This is Marilyn Wilson, the president of RE Technology, and excited to introduce you to a really interesting concept today, talking about how to grow your brand using a real estate CRM. And I thought what I would do is I would kick it off just to help us clarify that word CRM. It's a word that we all banter around quite a bit. And it's one of those words that means different things to different people. So I thought I would just sort of level set us, and then I'm going to turn it over to Rich Gaasenbeek, who's got some really fun things to talk to you about, and frankly, some really practical experience he's learned from the School of Hard Knocks. So we're going to talk about that. So a CRM, really, the buzzword stands for client relationship management. I think some people sometimes think of that as mostly email blasts and things like that. Well, that's certainly one component of CRM programs. Basically what it is, it's a guideline and it's a framework that helps every salesperson in any industry, frankly, not just in real estate, to be able to manage their entire sales process effectively. So everything from receiving a lead, talking to prospects, talking to someone you might have met in the grocery store, and building that relationship over time, all the way through to ongoing communications, and even, of course, ultimately servicing them as a client and working with them even as a referral and as a rebusiness down the road. So just wanted to remember that. But today we're going to talk about one component of this that's very interesting, and I think something maybe we don't always think about, which is that the more you have a regular, consistent flow of communication, education, insight, counsel that you provide to your sphere, the better your own personal brand becomes. And so the CRM can be sort of a guide to helping you to create your own brand. And Rich is going to show us some really interesting ways to do that in a minute. So with that, maybe let me introduce you. If you want to turn to the next slide, Rich, and then we can kick it off. Oh yeah, before we do that, sorry, let me do this. So I wanted to, I'm sure many of you probably have been on webinars in the past, but for those that haven't, if you look over on the right-hand side, you'll see a button that says questions, and there's a little gray triangle next to that where it says questions. If you click on that little box, it will open it up, and that at any one time that you would like to, feel free to include a question in there. It could be about the product, it could be about the branding concepts that Rich is discussing, or anything else that you really have on your mind about this whole topic of how CRM can help build your brand. And we may answer some of the questions in real time as we're going through the presentation, but we also will have a time at the end for questions. So feel free to answer them or to add them at any time, and we'll do our best to get them back to you. Okay, with that, let me introduce you now to Rich. So Rich Gaasenbeek is the co-founder and the EVP of IXACT Contact. Some of you may know the company already. They do great work. Many of our clients at Wave Group, which is also our other company, use IXACT Contact and feel very, very good about the product, about the company itself, the level of support that they get, and frankly, the level of reality they bring to CRM to help you really be able to leverage this. Because we all know that some of us have, I've done this, I'm sure many of you have over the years. You've bought a product and you thought it was a really neat idea at the time, and then it just sits on your shelf or it sits on your computer and you never touch it again. So these guys help you to not do that and help you really to able to live the dream of being a much better salesperson. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rich, and Rich, take it away.
But we're rocking and we're rolling, and glad you joined me because I've given a lot of webinars, as I mentioned, over the years to do with CRM, effective contact management, effective email marketing and keeping in touch. But this one's different. It's an unusual topic. How do you use your real estate CRM to help you build your brand? So let me just get my slides working. Now that I've got that working, what's our agenda for today? So first of all, let's define what brand actually means. I think it's kind of like CRM can mean a lot of different things to different people. And then we're going to discuss why you should care. That's important too, if you're going to spend an hour with us. We're going to then talk about the many ways that realtors can define and communicate their brand. And then, of course, the topic of this webinar is we're going to look at how a real estate CRM, such as IXACT Contact, can play actually quite a critical role in your branding and helping you to build your brand through not just your visual look and feel, but your messaging, through consistency and so on. And then at the very end, I have a special offer for webinar attendees. Let me just do a quick time check, 2:09. We're good. So what does brand mean? First of all, what your brand is not. Your brand is not just a logo, color schemes, font, set, and or a slogan. And right there, that's news for 99% of realtors. It's actually news for a lot of marketers, which is unfortunate. Your brand is much more. It does include those things. Your brand includes your visual presentation, your logo, your colors, your typography, your slogan, and so on. But really, what the savvy marketers know is that your brand really is the mental and emotional picture that you create in the mind of your target audience. And if you think of the great brands in the world, Nike or Coca-Cola, you just have to think of that in your mind, and a whole picture sort of evolves. When you think of Nike, you think of Just Do It and being outdoors, and a company that is very sporting oriented, and a whole bunch of things come to mind. So great brands, of course, they spend billions of dollars, but they're developing much more. It's much more than just a logo. So your brand does include your visual identity, but should also communicate, what you believe in, core values. Who are you? What are you about? Who you serve best, and why? Your expertise. Why you serve, why are you in this business? What matters to you? What turns you on? What makes you special, right? And then next, of course, is what makes you special or unique. What's the difference between a value proposition and a unique selling proposition? They're used kind of interchangeably, and there is a subtle difference. Your value proposition is really sort of a statement about the value you bring to your target market, your audience, your consumer set, the people you want to do business with. Unique selling proposition is actually it's an even little tougher thing. And that is, what is it that you offer as a brand, as a product, as a service that actually you can claim is unique to you? USPs are very hard to develop because it's very hard to be the only one in the world that does any one thing or provides any one thing, especially when there's 1.3 million realtors. But everyone, every service provider, every business should have a value proposition. So that's what brand is all about. Now, you're a realtor. You want to help people to buy and sell residential real estate. Why should you care about your brand? And I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why you should care. So without a brand, you're just one of 1.3 million other real estate, salespeople hustling to get a listing or to help someone buy a home. It's a busy, crowded market. 1.3 million. That's a lot of people. Now they're not all in your community, thank God, but still, you get the point. So branding helps you to stand out, helps you to differentiate. And if you think about it, you are, as a realtor, you're running a business. And like any other business, you need to help people to buy from you. You need to help people to buy from you, and your branding actually does that. Your brand helps answer key prospect questions such as, who are you? How can you help me? What makes you different? And most importantly, why should I choose you? There may not be 1.3 million realtors in southern, the south end of San Antonio, but there could be a couple thousand, and that's still a heck of a lot of choice, right? So, and then last point here, and I'm being generous, since 9 out of 10 real estate agents don't do a good job of building their brand, it can be a real competitive edge for you to do, if you do it. So that's the business case for building your brand. And you can be thinking to yourself, but wait a second, I'm not Nike. And I know you're not. But that's okay, because neither are any of your competitors. And I'm speaking to individual agents and even teams of agents. I'm not speaking to large brokerages, and I'm certainly not speaking to the national franchises. They are indeed brands, and this webinar does not apply to them. But as an individual agent or small team, you are not Nike. But if you give serious thought to the questions that we reviewed earlier in this webinar, and define a simple brand that you're comfortable with, that it's like a suit, you're comfortable putting on that suit, you're at the head of the class as a realtor. Very successful agents. What I mean by that, let's be literal here. If you've been in this business 20 years and you're making GCI in the $250,000, $500,000 range or whatever, you may be able to afford the services of a brand consultant. Or if you're a team, you're a good sized team, you may be able to afford a brand consultant. But remember, whether you engage a consultant or you just decide to try to think about this and implement this on your own, because you are a business person, you're a business, just remember that your brand is more than your logo. So don't fall into the trap of thinking, I'll just hire a graphics designer, and for a couple $100 I'll have a logo, I'll have a business card, some collateral, and I'm good to go. You will have a logo. You will not have a brand. All right, so let me give you some examples of, because this can be a bit sort of conceptual, ephemeral. What does he mean? Why is my brand not my logo? So I'll give some examples. and these are sort of based on real people, but I've genericized them a bit. So we got an agent here named Janet, and Janet really is the expert, or positions herself as the expert in luxury downtown Toronto condos for baby boomers who are looking to downsize. You know, kids are all off to college. They don't need the 3,500 square foot suburban home anymore. They're looking to downsize, and you know, it's a heck of a fun life in downtown Toronto in a nice 1,500 square foot condo. So Janet understands and cares about the issues and concerns of retiring baby boomers. So part of that's the value she brings is she really understands, she's taking the time to get to know these people and what they cares, you know, what matters to them and what they care about. She's done the research to identify the best condo buildings and developments for people looking to downsize. And she presents herself, her sort of image, which is part of her brand, is friendly, knowledgeable, trustworthy, and professional. So that's the image she wants to create in the minds of the people she wants to do business with. So if someone goes up to a past client and says, "Hey, I'm thinking of working with Janet. You know, what's your?" That past client, the instant impression that they should have. So Janet, yeah, oh, she was so trustworthy. Really liked working with her. She was reliable, very friendly person. But boy, does she know her stuff, and a total pro all the way. That's branding. When that description from your past client matches what you're trying to do and how you're positioning your market, that's the idea. Here's another one, Jason. Jason works with young families to help them buy their first home in, you know, family-friendly suburbs around Denver. So Jason understands that affordability is a big issue for young families and offers creative advice on how best to budget for and finance homeownership. He provides useful information that helps families decide which neighborhood is best for them and their lifestyle. He's developed a reputation for working hard to find the right homes and is a tough negotiator who spends his clients' money as if it was his own. He presents himself as the champion of the first-time home buyer. That's a brand. That creates a picture in your mind, a feeling about Jason, okay? One more example. We're working the J's here, Janet, Jason, and Jessica. Jessica's a little different. She helps younger city families, you know, people in their late 20s, early 30s, no kids yet, but, you know, maybe, you know, doing well, lawyer, doctor, you know, she helps them buy waterfront vacation properties in the lake area north of town. Jessica understands that these purchases are really all about lifestyle and getting together with friends, aka partying. She knows which lakes are best for which sports activity. You know, some are better for fishing, others are better for water skiing, wakeboarding. Others might be better for those who are into, you know, windsurfing and sailing, right? She understands that she's not selling a cottage or a cabin or 200 foot of frontage. She's selling good times. So she presents herself as young, social, and sporty, kind of person you'd want to go wakeboarding and partying with. That's her brand. Very different from Jason's and very different from Janet's. And notice I'm not showing you logos. So here are some of the questions that you need to answer to define your brand. Who are you and what do you stand for? That's the starting point. Who is your target audience? There's many different ways you can slice it and dice it. You can define it by, you know, geographic area. Janet was focused on, you know, the lake country. Jason was focused on suburbs of Detroit. But there's other ways. Demographic segment. Our first person, who was, using my memory here, Janet, was largely focused on a certain demographic, you know, baby boomers hitting that downsizing age range. You can focus on price range, property type, i.e. condos versus suburban homes versus country property, investment property, and so on. And then that links to what problem do you solve, right? And what makes you different? And then ultimately, how do you want people to feel when they think of you? And then lastly, how will you communicate your brand? So it's actually the first 4 or 5 questions to me are the tough ones. But no one can actually do all this for you. Even if you engage a brand consultant, what the consultant will largely do is sit down with you with the clock ticking and ask you these questions. They can't answer them for you. You have to answer them. Brand communication channels. So now once you've got the sense for who you are, how you want to position yourself, what will make you special, your value proposition, and so on, how do you communicate that? And basically the answer is you communicate it in every single way you can think of all the time. You are your brand. So, but let's be more specific. So one way your brand is communicated, loud and proud, is your personal website. And note, by personal website, I'm not referring to the page on your brokerage website. That does nothing for your personal branding, okay? Nothing. So you need a personal website. You can still have a page on your, you know, remax.com or kw.com, whatever it is. but you need a personal website. Jason sells Denver first-time homes, or Jessica sells waterfrontfund.com. You need your own URL, and it has to build your brand right from the URL. Actually, you're building your brand from the URL. Secondly, all your online communications, all your email marketing. If you do something like a monthly e-newsletter, that's got to convey your branding, both in the visual sense, but also in terms of the content, the messaging, right? And the same with your social media marketing. And then you get into sort of other marketing assets. Maybe you do videos on YouTube, you've got a YouTube channel, or you do podcasts. You produce information products, like little checklists, ebooks, infographics, of course, your listing presentation. All these things need to reflect your brand. If you get massive disconnects, if your videos present you one way and then your listing presentation presents you a totally different way, that creates what's called dissonance in the prospect's mind, and people don't like dissonance. Dissonance means things aren't making sense, things aren't adding up. I feel pressure, I feel confusion, I'll go work with somebody else, right? We want to avoid dissonance. So and then of course you've got also your traditional realtor communication tools, such as your lawn signs, brochures, business cards, and letterhead. Now those are, they can't say too much, so they're largely visual. But other things like podcasts, videos, you're saying a lot. It's way more than just the video, the visual. It's much more about the message, right? And then, as Victor pointed out to me before this, we were just preparing for this webinar, it's also you. It's how you talk, how you dress, your body language, and most importantly, how you deliver your service. So your brand is a lot about your marketing communication, but ultimately, you're going to deliver a service. You're going to help someone to list and sell their home. And the service you deliver, the way you deliver it, the professionalism, the style, is it super formal and buttoned down, or is it more relaxed and friendly? Whatever that style is, that also conveys your brand, and it should be consistent. So I'm going to pause here for a second, Marilyn, and just see if there's any questions at this point that I can deal with.
So there was a question about, will you be mailing attendees a copy of the presentation? I told them that we would be doing the recording, but I don't know if you guys want to actually do the actual presentation as well.
I'm happy to mail out the presentation, or maybe what might be easier, because actually email doesn't work that well. What we'll do, we'll create a PDF, put it online as a PDF, and we'll send out the link to the PDF to anybody who wants. Yeah. Alrighty.
Perfect.
Anything else?
That was all we have so far. I'll keep you posted if we get a few more.
Okay. So that was my little tutorial on branding as a real estate agent. But Rich, what does this have to do with CRM? I'm glad you asked. And the answer is, it has more than you might think. So your CRM won't define your brand for you. As I said, really nobody can. You have to do it. And even the consultants are largely asking you questions to pull it out of you. But your CRM can be a very useful tool in helping you to communicate your brand. Because once you've defined your brand, if you don't communicate it, it ain't a whole lot of use. If you keep that, tucked away in a drawer somewhere, all that great work you did to define your brand is basically wasted work, right? So to build your brand, regular and consistent communication is key. And those are two keywords, regular and consistent, right? So all your communications and everything you do need to reinforce your brand, both in terms of visual identity and core messaging. Next generation CRM, such as IXACT Contact, provide really such a wide range of marketing automation capabilities and marketing content that they can actually play a pretty key role. They're not the total solution, but they play a key role, and that's really the sort of, the insight from this webinar. So let's jump in. I'm going to give you a short little demonstration. I'm going to use IXACT Contact, but most of what I'm going to show you, the principles that we're talking about here, are applicable regardless of which real estate CRM you're using. We think IXACT Contact has some special features, but I'll let you guys come to that conclusion on your own. But I'm going to give you an idea of the many ways that your CRM, and actually let me take a little half step back for a sec. I used a phrase earlier, next generation CRM. One of the things that's actually enabling this presentation is that the CRMs, the real estate CRMs of today, are not the same as the ones from 10 years ago. A traditional CRM was really a place you stored your contact data. It was a safe and organized place to put your contact data. And maybe you could categorize people, and you could search and filter, and maybe there was some rudimentary email marketing, but that was kind of it. And there's been a massive evolution, and next generation CRMs like IXACT Contact really are they're contact management systems, but they're also as much marketing automation systems. That's as much, if not more so, their key value added back to their users. So they help you to build your brand through regular and consistent communications across multiple marketing channels. So I am going to jump into IXACT Contact, and we'll take a look at a few ideas of how this works. So I've just logged into IXACT Contact, and again, this is not a full software demo. I'm actually going to focus in on just a few key features that relate to the topic of this webinar. I'm not, IXACT Contact is a pretty robust CRM solution that helps you do many things, but we're focused on branding here. So let's just start with, but you do need a bit of an orientation. So before I start jumping around all over the place within the software, understand that the main nav bar is over here and always will be. My contact list is always on the right. And then in the middle is what we call the workspace. Now, when I first log in, the workspace goes immediately to what's called a dashboard, where you have access to a Keep in Touch coach. It tells you sort of an intelligence system that tells you every day who you need to reach out and contact to based on their status in your business pipeline and when you last connected with them. And it's got other widgets that show you your business pipeline, appointments, prospecting activities, and so on. So, but if I go to say work on a mass email, that takes over the workspace here. Let's get into branding. So the first thing I would do, and what I would recommend to a realtor, is you've defined your brand, and either you hired a graphics artist to help you come up with a logo, because you do need that. What you want to do is make sure that all your email marketing contains your brand. So let's go to mass email. Actually, sorry, I'm going to go somewhere else. We're going to go to user profile first. That's a little tab up here. Because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build a header. So in IXACT Contact, you can create an email header. There's two different sort of levels. There's what we call a standard header, which means it's easy peasy to create. And then if you want something more elaborate, you can create a custom header. So in terms of a standard header, this is what it might look like. All you have to do to create it is literally upload your photo. There's my mug. Upload your logo. There's ABC Realty. And the system puts the rest together. It pulls your phone number and contact info from your profile within the system. You can change the color if you want to match your brand. Maybe your brand uses a funky mauve. There you go. Whatever it is you want to do. One of the nice things about this style of header is that it's responsive, which means if you are on a mobile phone, the header rearranges itself so the email is readable on the mobile phone. This is what we call a modern design. There's one that's called a classic design, a little more traditional. And then, again, I highly recommend the modern one. I hate that purple. Can't believe I chose it. I don't know how to get back to my blue. Let's try that. That's better. But what if you say, but Rich, I don't want that header. I actually hired a graphics artist, and he developed for me a logo, business card look, letterhead, and a nice branded email header. And the answer is no problem. So you can, if you want, create a custom header here. And actually, you can create it within the system. This is like an editor. You can add pictures, or if you've got a header that's created by someone else, you literally copy and paste it. Or if it's an interactive header, meaning you can click on the website and so on, then we would literally upload the HTML. So whether you need our help building a nice little header with your photo and your logo, or you've got a custom one, it's no problem. We can help you create a nice graphical email header that carries your brand with it. And then what about signature? So by the way, another marketing pro tip for you. We're huge believers in the power of email headers. A lot of agents put all their good stuff in their email signature. And it's a mistake. It's a marketing mistake. Because as everybody knows, not all your emails get open. Wouldn't it be wonderful if they did? But your email headers, as long as your recipient is using an Outlook or a Gmail with their preview panel turned on, which most people do, even if they don't choose to open and read your email to the bottom, they'll see your email header. And that's the branding touch. That's the visual little reminder of who you are and what you stand for. If all your good stuff is down, your picture, your logo, your photo, and so on, that's all down in your signature, No one sees it unless they read your whole email and get to the bottom. So put your good stuff at the top with an email header. Email signatures are still fine, and you can set up a signature, and it can look very nice. So here's an email signature. I just created one. I actually just uploaded a photo of my written signature, and I've got my logo, some contact info. So we're not against signatures. We're saying don't lean on the signature to carry your branding. Make your email header carry your branding, because that's what way more people will see. So that's step number one. Step number two, take advantage of a monthly newsletter. You can, if you've got the time, the initiative, the skills to create your own every month, God bless you, go ahead and do it. If you don't, you could look at a solution such as IXACT Contact and others that provide a done-for-you monthly e-newsletter each month. Let's take a look at what these look like. Let's pull one up here. So this is an example of IXACT Contact. So IXACT Contact provides a monthly newsletter. We write fresh content every month, it's never recycled. And the beautiful thing about it is fully automated. So once you've created your email header, you've decided who you want it to go to, like who's your distribution list. Is it going to be everyone in your database, or this group and that group, but not this third group over here? And you choose the day and time of day you want it to go. I want it to go on the 5th of the month at 10 a.m. Pacific. Then you're done. You can go away to Tahiti for the 6-month sabbatical, and your monthly newsletter will go out once a month to those 852 people in your database with a professional tap on the shoulder that reminds them that you're the pro in southwestern Sacramento, right? And it's got your photo, your logo, and so on. And we provide, of course, like any good mass email, this may be going to 800 people, but it's personalized. So it's a personalized mass email, personally addressed. We provide the generic personal message, which, if you think about that, it's a great oxymoron, a generic personal message. But this is designed to look like this is going from Rich to another Rich and Jennifer, another couple. And then we provide, there's my signature. So in this case, my branding is carried by my header, but I'm also getting branding value out of my signature here. And then there's 3 articles. Now we write these articles, and if you like them, let them go. But if you want to edit them, you can edit them. If you want to delete them, you can delete them. Maybe you had a bad experience on a cruise ship one day, and you don't want any sort of article or analogy to sailing, and you want to delete that article. Do it. And then most importantly, you can add your own articles. So back to the branding. Yes, this is branding. This is the visual side. This is the visual side. But use the newsletter to also communicate your personal branding. How would you do that? So maybe you like all 3 articles we provide. Actually, I should just finish paging through this quickly to give you a sense for the kind of content that a good real estate e-newsletter will provide. Simplifying your home life, flexible dumpsters for home renos, and there's many others I can show you. So the way you would customize it to reinforce your brand might be a couple of things. This generic personal message, it's all HTML. So you could rewrite it. You could rewrite it and put photos in it. Maybe a big part of your brand is that you're super active in the community, and in particular, you're heavily involved with certain charities. The run to, conquering cancer, or fighting heart disease, or whatever it is. And in your community, once or twice a year, there's a big bike ride or a run to conquer cancer, and you highlight that. You entered a team with some customers, past clients, whatever, and you've got some photos of you guys at the finishing line, holding up a check for the $3,000 you raised, that kind of thing. You can also add your own articles that, again, relate to you and your business and your brand. So that's how you take something and expand it from just visual branding to also content and messaging branding. But if you think about it, even if you're too busy to do that extra step, just having a professional communication that goes out to your database once a month on a regular, consistent basis is a big step forward. 95% of realtors don't have that today. They have nothing on a consistent basis. They basically got sticky notes all over the place, and they hope to call people when they think of it. Of course, usually doesn't work out too well for them. Just one other example of, again, the kind of content, and then I will move on. Just want to show this one here. Whoops. So same header, but just again, sense of the kind of content. Should you buy the less than perfect home? pack your memories away. What do you do when you're, how do you deal with clutter and creating quiet in a sometimes noisy home? So these are the kind of articles. And what about that again, back to customization. So here's the same monthly newsletter from the Rebecca Koppel team. We did not create that email header for Rebecca. So she and her team engaged with a brand consultant who helped them define their brand and come up with this visual look and feel. So we worked with her to get her custom email header into our system. They don't customize their signature very much. She took me literally, she put all the good stuff up in her header, which is what I think she should do. So that gives you the idea again on that front. Let's go back to the software. So now, what have we done? We've created a nice email header and email signature that carries our visual brand. We've set up a monthly newsletter that's going to go out to our 852 contacts every month without fail, no matter how busy we get or where we go on vacation. And it carries our visual identification and our brand. And if I'm actually at the office doing work or not on vacation, I should also customize it with articles and content and pictures and videos that do reflect my brand. But the actual sending, it's all automated. And I'm not staring at a blank, a blank screen each month trying to think, oh my God, what the heck am I going to create for my monthly newsletter this month? So that's kind of the power there. And it's the consistency. Once it's set up, it's up, it's done for you, it's going to go. All right, consistency. Let's talk about that some more. Marketing consistency messaging. There's also a very powerful place for activity plans. Activity plans are very different. They're not you've got a choice. First of all, let's talk about what they are. What is an activity plan? A marketing activity plan really is a targeted series of communications, predefined series of communications targeting a specific audience. So it's not generic ersatz content. For instance, we have an activity plan called a 2-year first-time buyer who's currently renting prospecting plan. And if you look at what the components are of that plan, it's basically an email. It's the other word for this in the industry is a drip email campaign. I hate the phrase drip email because nobody wants to be dripped on, but actually there's a lot of value in a targeted regular communication, right? So they actually have a lot of value, and I think drip email is sort of a pejorative. But anyway, the idea is that you've met someone, a young couple, they're renting, and they're planning to start a family soon. Within the next year or two, they're going to be looking for their first home. But that's a long-term prospect for the average realtor. They don't have any good mechanism for keeping in touch with that person. They're very good with the short-term prospects, the right-now prospects, but they struggle with the long-term prospects, even though the quality could be extremely high. So the idea with your CRM is you assign the contact to this, other way around actually, you assign this marketing activity plan to this contact. So what does the plan look like? I've just met this young couple. They're going to move in a year or two. If I don't have some way to systematize the keep in touch, I'm going to forget about them entirely, and they're going to forget about me. So the idea is, why not put them on a series of monthly emails? Starts at day 7, and then it's every month after that. And every communication is actually very targeted at the kinds of issues, thoughts, concerns, worries, questions that first-time buyers have. What kind of mortgage can I get? Then, oh, by the way, it's not all drip email. It's actually a multi-channel plan. So every few months, it'll tell you, pick up the phone, and this is what to talk to them about. You probably have a lot of questions. Don't let the process scare you. Beware of fast-talking salespeople. Here's a testimonial. Should you continue to rent? Is money holding you back? Do you get the gist here? This is very targeted to the kinds of thoughts running around in the head. And each communication, because they're very well written, they position you one sort of grain of, one little step at a time as the expert, as the authority, so that when eventually, Steve and Sandra decide, okay, we're ready, we're ready to buy that first home, they're going to reach out to you because you're the one who kept in touch with them consistently for the last 17 months between when you first met them and when they're ready to go. Not only did you keep in touch, you actually gave them a lot of good ideas. You answered a lot of questions that they had, right? So that's the power. Now, what does that have to do with branding? And really, I'll answer that on 2 levels. The actual flow, the sending of these communications is part of your branding. You're positioning yourself. If this is a target market you want to serve first-time buyers. The fact that you meet them, you stay in touch with them, and every month you send them sort of a personal note that talks about the very things that they are thinking about, that builds your brand as someone who knows first-time buyers, knows what they're thinking about, can add value, can help them. That's your brand, right? If you really want to, if this, as an example, was a core target market for you, I would recommend you go through each one and you look at every email. Many of them are quite short. They're not long essays. They're meant to look as short, personal, one-to-one emails from you to your prospect, right? This one's short. Some are a tiny bit longer, tiny bit shorter, but you get the idea. But you can edit it. So again, if you want to put your personal thumbprint on the communications, go for it. Edit them, add your own, change it up. It's entirely customizable, but you're not staring at a blank Word document trying to figure out how you're going to build your own keep in touch plan for first-time buyers who are renting. We've done the work for you. It's much easier now for you to customize and add your own spin, right? Then the other question is, should you add your branding, your visual branding? And our default on these is that we recommend you don't. Just trying to think where it is in here. Anyway, I'm having a blanking for a moment, but there's a flag where you can turn on your email header or turn off. And when it comes to like lead nurture email plans, our recommendation actually is don't include your graphical header, because then it looks like a marketing email, and these are meant to look like personal emails. So in this case, the way it helps your brand is through the fact that it's a targeted, well-written series of communications that indicates to your prospect that you know them, you care about them, you understand what matters to them. And right there, you're elevating yourself above 95% of your competitors. And then the other benefit is it's the consistency. Very different than if you meet this young couple and for the first 6 weeks, you're thinking of them all the time and you send out, you call them twice and you email them twice, and then you fall off a cliff and they never hear from you again. Consistency is key. So that's the power of marketing activity plans. There's many, many others. Just go back here. Where did I go? Activity plans. Yeah, so we focused on the one for renters, but we have sort of a long-term prospecting plan for sellers. Again, couples thinking of downsizing. When Johnny goes off to college next year, the house will be empty, we're downsizing, but that's next year. How do you keep in touch? How do you position yourself? Then there's hot leads, hot buyer leads, hot seller leads. We have a 4-month plan for those, and so on. So you can use them out of the box, or you can go through them and personalize them to really put your voice into the templates. But at least you're starting with a template. You're not starting with a blank sheet of paper. So that's the power of the marketing activity plans. It's all about the messaging and the consistency of communication. I'm going to move to websites next, but I'm happy to pause for a moment, Marilyn, and see if there's any questions at this point.
There are a few here. I think your team has been answering them behind the scenes too, but let me get to the ones that are still here. This is an interesting question, and some of these get into more, actual marketing messaging. But can you show an example of how you would subscribe a renter that can be a potential buyer to a drip marketing plan or campaign? So do you have any of those that are sort of renter to buyer, keep them in the family until it's time for them to convert?
Yeah, so the one I was just talking about is a plan to keep in touch with someone who's renting and thinking of buying their first home. Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about, right? So I showed the plan. Mm-hmm. I think what the person's asking is, how do I assign that to someone? And it's actually very easy. You can do one of two ways. You can assign it. If I open a contact profile, I'm going to open Andrew mm-hmm. Adams. We will touch. Mm-hmm. So you notice now my workspace is this contact. And there's different tabs. There's your basic contact profile information, social intelligence, which is all their data from their social media. You can track your contact history, what properties they own, once owned, document upload and storage. But this one here, keep in touch, is an interesting little tab. It's like a little micro dashboard specific for this contact, Andrew and Jessica. And it covers 3 things. One is it shows you if Andrew Adams, is he invited to any of the group marketing things we're doing. The monthly e-newsletter is like a group marketing thing. I send it to 852 people. Maybe every summer I do a 4th of July fireworks party and I invite the neighborhood, or I do a client wine and cheese. It shows me what am I doing that's one-on-one with Andrew? Am I celebrating his birthday? Do I have his spouse's birthday? That kind of thing. Move-in anniversary. I can add something. I could add take Andrew out for a round of golf, whatever I want, create a new event, right? Then the third category is Andrew assigned to any activity plans? So in this case, I want to. I say, yeah, actually, I just found out that Andrew is thinking of buying his first home. He's renting right now, so I did a little keyword search. And here's those plans we just looked at. It looks like the same plan is repeated twice, but if you look carefully, one is an email version, one's a letter version. So we still believe that there is a role for direct mail, and if you don't have someone's email address, but you want to still use this marketing activity plan, you can execute it via letter as well. But what I would do is I click the email version. Email is easier because it goes automatically. Hit continue. I can still change dates around if I want to, or skip steps. And then 99% of the time, I'm going to go assign plan. And now I've assigned my 2-year first-time buyer who's currently renting plan to Andrew and Jessica, and it's done. I can also mass assign plans. I don't have to go one by one. If I meet a group of people, 23 people in an open house, and I want to assign an open house, marketing activity plan to all 23 at once, I can mass assign. But that's the basic idea there.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let me keep going because I just realized I still have a fair amount to cover, and it's already quarter to 3 Eastern. All right, what about other online marketing areas? I'm going to jump quickly. We're going to do social media first, then we're going to come back to your website. So you also do, say a lot about your brand on your social media. I'm just going to, as an example, I've got Britt McDonald's Facebook page here. She actually hasn't branded herself that much, but usually you've got the agent's brand, their logo, and then you learn about them. They've got videos, posts, and so on. But one of the big challenges for agents, it's a massive challenge, is content, right? They don't know what to post about. So they've got a Facebook channel, they're on LinkedIn, maybe they've got a Twitter channel, and those are like hungry monsters that demand to be fed. What they demand to be fed is content. And for the average agent, the average realtor, they don't have the time for this. And yet they go to these trade shows like an Inman or whatever, and every second speaker is telling them they've got to be social media mavens, and they've got to be all over it and spend half their day, and it's overwhelming. And it's just not realistic. Realtors are running a business. Their primary goal is to be serving customers, serving clients, talking to prospects, closing business, executing the sale, negotiating and executing the transaction in a professional manner. So they don't have 3 hours a day to sit, being a content consultant. So what a lot of them do actually is they do pay to have someone do it. And I talk to a lot of paying hundreds of dollars a month to to get someone to write one post a day for them. But there's another way to do it, and that is through a service like IXACT Contact's Social Stream. So what is Social Stream? The basic idea, it's sort of a unique service because what we've done is we've syndicated content from leading real estate publications all across North America, both dedicated real estate publications and real estate sections of publications like Forbes and so on. So so first we syndicate content, and then the idea is, and let's just jump right into it. What does this content look like? So when you first log into Social Stream, you actually see a wall of content. And for some people, this is really cool. They just like to get a flavor for what kind of content this service is gathering. And you can see some of the sources, Better Homes and Gardens, Martha Stewart, HGTV, Financial Post, and so on. There's Realty Times and so on. If you wanted to, you could say, in my practice as a realtor, I have a lot of people with big lots, big properties. They love gardening. So here's a great article, How to Divide Hostas. I'm just going to share that article with everyone on my social media channels. The problem is most realtors don't have the time. They don't want to do that. They want it automated for them. So what we've done is create a little process. When you first turn on Social Stream, you go through a little setup wizard, asks you about 6 questions, but the core of them, because you can always go back in and edit those answers, really the core is the following. Why is this not working from here? I need to log. Oh, I think you know what? I logged in a long time ago, and I think I've timed out. let me just, oh, okay. So what you want to do is look very quickly at what's involved in setting this up. So there's really three key decisions you have to make. The first question is, when would you like SocialStream to post to your social media? We can post to your LinkedIn, your Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And you can actually have the service post up to 3 times a day. If you wanted to, you could say, let's do Sunday morning and afternoon. We'll go Tuesday, maybe Wednesday morning's enough, but Thursday we'll go morning and afternoon. You get the idea. If you wanted to, you could go 3 times a day. You could say Friday, 3 times I want it to post. Next big decision is what kind of content? What publishers are you comfortable with being? So these, by default, we've got them all turned on. But look at the quality of the publications here. Architectural Digest, Better Homes and Garden, Country Living, Condo.ca, Gardens Illustrated, Homes and Cottages Magazine, Homes Magazine, Martha Stewart, Huffington Post. You get the idea, Realty Times. So you pick the ones you want. Now you may say, I don't want CNN or CNBC. I don't want Condo.ca. I don't sell the condos. I sell, country properties. You turn off the ones you don't want, or turn on the ones you do want, right? And then the next question is, those are the publications we'll pull content from. And keep in mind, this is gated content. These are all publications. We're accessing their paid content. It's not their free content. This is the content you have to subscribe to get. So if you as an individual agent said, well, I'm going to get I'll go get it myself from Huffington Post and Home Trends Magazine and Country Living, you would have to pay to be a subscriber to each of those publications. We've syndicated the content so we can basically make it available to you. But then the question is, okay, those are the publications. What topics are you comfortable with? Every article from every publication is curated, which means that a human being reads the article and first of all, make sure that it's safe. There's no religion, no politics. And then they tag it with 2 or 3 tags to indicate roughly what the article is about. And you decide what tags are appropriate for you. So as an example, again, out of the box, everything's turned on. But maybe you're like Jason, you're dealing with young millennials looking to buy their first home. You don't want articles about aging, retirees, and retirement flowing through to your social media. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't reflect your brand. So you would turn those off. Maybe gardening makes no sense because everyone you deal with lives in a condo and they're not into gardening. You get the idea. One question I get asked a lot is, Rich, there's a lot of topics here that aren't narrowly focused on real estate. They're more about, a lifestyle and home broadly speaking. Shouldn't I narrow it down and just be all real estate all the time? And my recommendation as a professional marketer is absolutely not. Don't do that. Keep the spigot wide open. Talk about lifestyle. Talk about food. Talk about vacations. Talk about home decor, gardening. The broader you can make it, the more likely people will be attracted to your Facebook page and want to engage with you. And ultimately, that's what this is about. You're trying to get people to want to engage with you. And yeah, you'll still talk real estate, and you can still, this does not replace your own social media posting. You should still be, featuring that Run to Conquer Cancer run that you did on the weekend with your own post. And you should be featuring the new restaurant that just opened in your neighborhood, or the big new development that's going in. So in your own listings, but for whatever you do, don't make it all listings all the time. And I recommend don't make it all just real estate all the time. Give people more reasons to want to stay in touch with you. And when you look at some of these, and that's why, again, when you go back to that content page, there's a lot of pretty sexy stuff. So how does this all then translate to your social media page? And that's why we'll go back to Britt. So I'm on Britt McDonald's Facebook page, and I'm scrolling through, and I see this article, crank up the fun with a do-it-yourself kitty car wash. And I think, oh, that's kind of cool, because look, I live in the suburbs. I have young kids. I got space on the lawn. And I'm desperately always trying to think what the heck to do to keep the kids, busy. I click through. And first thing to notice, I'm going to close this actually, I'll come back to it. First thing that I noticed, although this article is brought to me by HGTV, it's an HGTV article is what I should say. It's brought to me by Britt McDonald. So I went from her Facebook page and I'm at a landing page that continues to brand Britt. Britt is still branding herself. Now, depending on the publication, sometimes SocialStream will give you the full article, or sometimes you get a teaser, and then you actually do have to go through to the publication landing page to read the full article. But at least there's that second level of branding, right? I started at her Facebook page, I click on the article, I go to a landing page of Britt McDonald, and if you want, you can add a lead capture form that pops up. You can even put a timer on it. Hers comes up right away. You can give people 5 seconds to get a sense for the article before you ask them for their contact info. But again, another layer of branding. And you can make it a hard lead capture, meaning, give me your data, or you can't go on, or what I like this, it's called a soft lead capture. So you can ask people, explain what you're doing and why, ask them for their name and email, but if they don't want to give it to you, no problem, no thanks, and they can still go on and see the article. So now your social media, first of all, you've got regular consistency. Let's go back to that consistency thing, right? Because you've got social stream, and you decided that it's going to go once on Sundays, twice on Mondays, whatever level of consistency you wanted. So no matter how busy you get, you're too busy to put an article in about that, the new development that's opening up, or the bike ride you did for Heart Research, or the new hospital wing. You're just plain too busy, but at least Social Stream is still delivering interesting, well-written articles from Tier 1 publications, and that alone is building your brand. Your brand is, oh, you're Jessica, you're the one who sends me, these really cool, you're Brett, you're the one who sends me these really cool articles on everything from kiddie car washes through summer destinations, how to make my lawn greener and better, through any juice ice pops. That's you. The other realtor, that in your neighborhood, he's a real stiff. His stuff's all boring. But Britt, I know I'm going to find articles on some pretty interesting stuff, from home decor all the way through to keeping the kids entertained. So that's my recommendation there. And then lastly, websites. And I realized I left myself not a lot of time. You need an agent website. And I can't emphasize this enough. An agent website is not your page on your brokerage's website. Nothing wrong with that. You can have it, but it differentiates you about as much as 1 grain of 1 grain of rice in a 1 pound bag of rice. That's how it differentiates you. So, we got a guy, Flint Nolan. He's with Beacon Hill, but he's actually developed his own personal brand, a visual brand for himself personally. And he positions himself as really the Nolansville, Tennessee real estate expert. And he does it in a number of ways. He took our content. This is an IXACT Contact website. So even though it's a CRM, you can create a website with IXACT Contact. And out of the box, it's beautiful. You customize it with your own color theme, background image, logo, photo, etc. And it comes with 16 pages of pre-written content, including a home page, multiple pages of content for sellers and buyers. And Flint, though, has gone ahead and he rewrote it, and he added video to position himself really as the expert in Nolansville. And he states it right up here. My mission is to creating comfort, security, and balance for my family and community through diligent, so on and so. And here's the real message. He's the Nolansville expert, right? If you go through to his neighborhoods page, this says a lot right here. Before you even click on anything, I don't know how big Nolansville, Tennessee is, but I'm guessing it's not 5 million people. Who knew that Nolansville had so many micro neighborhoods? And for each one, you can click through, and he pulls up the listings that are specific to that neighborhood. Flint hasn't written descriptions. We strongly recommend, beyond just a nice photo and the listings, talk about the neighborhood. Talk about it. Talk about the best schools, the best restaurants, the nice parks, and so on. And then those pages actually can start to even rank on Google. Just some other examples. So Kristen Hess-Winters, in her case, I think she really defined herself through her About Me page. And really, she's part of her branding is just her level of professionalism. All the memberships, all the designations and awards. That's her branding right there. And I think that was reflected on our homepage as well. Mission statement, and so on. Last one, and then we're basically done. Team Stevens. And again, these are templated websites, but notice how dramatically different the looks and feel are. Branding at the bottom, vertical nav versus Team Stevens branding at the top, horizontal nav. And you can brand yourself any way you want. So they've led with video, as Flint did. So now with a website, you're also carrying your branding, and it's your website. Just thinking. Look at the URL. K Hess Winter in Focus for You, and teamstevens.ca. Now they're part of Exit Realty, but they've got their own brand, Team Stevens. So starting with the URL, the domain, right through the website, you make it your brand. So your website is your primary, along with social media, your primary online communicator of your brand. One cool thing, our websites also include blogs. So we include a blog. We write a blog post for you every 2 weeks. So there is always a flow of fresh content. But we encourage you, from a branding point of view, supplement our posts with your own. But if you get too busy for a couple of months, your blog doesn't go dark, doesn't go dead. We continue to provide content. So I got into the demo by saying, what does all this have to do with CRM? And hopefully you've got an idea now. You know, again, your CRM won't define your brand, but you saw many different ways that your CRM can help you in communicating your brand visually, through messaging, and also through regular consistency. Okay. So what does IXACT Contact include? You know, again, some of the key components of our solution. It is actually, although we haven't focused on the CRM side so much, because this webinar was about branding, you know, the core of the system, it is a robust, world-class CRM that's easy to learn and use. Powerful email marketing platform that, as you saw, included an automated monthly e-newsletter, a rich library of marketing activity plans for nurturing leads. It also includes email campaign reporting that we didn't look at, but that definitely has an impact on your branding. Responsive agent websites that look amazing and can be fully customized. That's all about branding. Automated social media marketing that generates leads, all about branding. We also offer something called Concierge customer service that gets you up and running. I've got a slide on that next. I'll save that for a second, and then the next part is not important. So how does the system help you from a business? You know, previous slide was really key features, but what about you? Like, why would I want this? Beyond the brand, does IXACT Contact do anything? The answer is yes. So really, you know, as a CRM, helps you to organize and manage all your contact data. That's the starting point for any CRM. The heart and soul of the system really is bullet number 2. It helps you to keep in touch and stay top of mind, to build relationships, loyal long-term relationships, and generate referrals and repeat business. That's all about branding. Also helps you to nurture and convert leads into clients. That's all about branding. The system also includes a full goal setting and performance tracking section. You can manage all your active business and so on, and basically helps you to build your brand and expand your business with marketing automation and lead management. In one sentence, a lot of realtors get to this point and they're thinking, it all sounds good, it sounds fantastic, but I tried CRM before, I tried something similar before, and oh my God, I couldn't get over the setup, you know, the setup hump. In fact, the hump was more like a mountain. So we offer something we call Concierge Setup Service, and in a nutshell, we will help you one-on-one to get every aspect of the system that you want to take advantage of up and running and working for you. And it's free of charge. You're on a free trial. You know, you start with a free trial. There's no contract, no obligation. We want to get you up and running and seeing value as quickly as possible, within hours, within a day, however, you know, quickly you can sort of engage with us. And it doesn't take a lot of time. And, you know, everything I showed you, we can help you get set up and working for you. Your branded email header and signature, your branded monthly e-newsletter, your branded agent website, your branded social media marketing, and much more. So special offer for those of you who were on the webinar today, and I do apologize for you know, some of our technical challenges. That's what happens with webinars. Normally the free trial with IXACT Contact is a month. Because you're on this webinar, it's an extended 60-day free trial, so you have 2 full months. And then if you like if you like the software, if it's working for you, it's helping you to build your brand, to communicate your brand, and maybe hopefully many other things as well, then IXACT Contact is $33 per month on an annual plan, or $39 per month on a monthly plan, which just means you can cancel any time month by month. Should point out that that includes the full CRM, the library of email marketing plans and templates, the monthly e-newsletter, and an agent website without IDX. You can add IDX, which is that feature that pulls, you know, your MLS listings into your website for as little as $13 a month for IDX Standard. Then there's an IDX Pro, which is kind of like a Ferrari IDX, and that's $33 a month. And the social stream service that posts targeted content from, you know, you choose the publications, you choose the topics, and then we flow up to 3 times a day. That actually is an optional add-on, and that's $20 per month. If you want to take advantage of it, give it a try. You've got 60 months, 60 months for free, no obligation. This is the URL, exactcontact.com/retech, and that'll get you the special offer. Note, anybody on this call who's a rookie, which we define as you're in your first year as a licensed realtor, you get 6 months free. And let me open it up for questions. Those you have to run, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you found some value in this webinar, got some ideas, got inspired to think about and care about your brand. And I wish you all the best and all the success in your business. And I'm going to stay on the line for those who have questions.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I think your team is answering a lot of them. So hopefully, if people I still have questions. There was one that was asked early on, and let me see if I can get back to that one. Hold on one sec. This one says, I am 56 and focusing on baby boomers. Am I excluding the millennials with my branding efforts? They are very different. Can you expand with suggestions to capture market share among millennials, since they will be the ones buying homes in the next 10 years?
Run that by me again.
Different campaigns. Do you have different campaigns? I think basically is the question for baby boomers and millennials. Like, is the messaging a little bit different, or the types of topics that are being talked about? Like you showed the things like, for example, with the car wash. That's probably more for a millennial than someone that's older, or maybe not. Maybe grandmas would like that. I don't know.
So the as a CRM service that has tens of thousands of users, agents all across North America, our content has to serve realtors from San Diego to Calgary, Alberta to Charlotte, North Carolina, and realtors anyone from 25 years old serving millennials all the way up to 65-year-olds serving baby boomer retirees. But the idea is to, we'll try to give you content so that you can always find something in there for you. And if you need something that we're not providing, then you can create it within the system. So the monthly newsletter, there'll always be something there for everybody, but you can add your own article. You keep the 3 we've got, but add one specifically for millennials if that's what you want. Although some of our content will be about millennials. Same with the social media. You really, by customizing the publications you pull from and the topics, you are, in a sense, your content stream it was branded because you chose it based on who you are and the brand you developed for yourself. But ultimately, to really focus your brand super tightly and all your marketing communications, you do have to get involved. So there's no robot that can necessarily say, oh, Janet wants to focus just on this particular group and this CRM will do that just for her. But there's a lot there, and then that's kind of the extra sauce, the added sauce you put on it is to put your personal feel to it.
Gotcha. Okay, there's a couple of questions that were answered individually, but I thought it might be worth posing to the group too, and this is maybe just pointing them somewhere else. But there was someone that asked the question, do you have offers for brokers? So is there a different, there is a different product, I believe, right? Or how do brokers get access if they'd like to be part of the program?
Sure. We work with brokerages all across North America. We have a brokerage program, which really defines, how we can work with brokerages. We're working with brokerages that are looking to put a powerful CRM and marketing automation system like IXACT Contact in the hands of all their agents. It's not enterprise software. So it's not a corporate CRM. It's an agent/team CRM, but we're finding that more and more brokerages, they don't want to control the data. In fact, they don't want to control it largely because their agents don't want them to control the contact data. So the database is the individual agent/team's property. But what brokerages are trying to do, instead of letting their agents wander in the wilderness trying to evaluate 77 different CRMs and pick stumble around, brokerages are taking a leadership position on CRM. And they're saying, this is the one that here at ABC Realty, this is our strategic CRM partner. We've integrated it into our agent portal using SSO. We're customizing the content that IXACT Contact provides. So this maybe is getting to your point. The brokerages can customize the content of our system that's provided to their agents. And in a sense, the brokerage can brand our system to the brokerage brand, so that when their agents sign up, they're getting a version of IXACT Contact that has the brokerage's logo to start with, custom marketing plans that the brokerages have developed in their training that they find works really well in Oklahoma City. We can customize the agent website. So we add content to our agent website so that it's unique for that brokerage. We have one brokerage as an example where the About Us tab that in our out-of-the-box websites, it's one page. It's kind of a generic About Me page. And that broker turned it into 7 pages of content, unique pages all about the brokerage, in addition to the agent, the awards they've won, their position in the community, and yada, yada. So yeah, where we work with brokerages, there's a lot of content customization. And of course, whatever the broker does to create content customization still does not block or preclude the agent from then adding their own level of customization. The broker can customize the monthly e-newsletter before it's pushed to the agents. They could add 2 articles, right, to make it easy for the agent, a nice infographic on the last month board stats. But the agent can still add their content, delete what they don't like, edit what they don't, what they want, and so on. So yeah, there's a lot we do with brokerages. And of course,
okay, great.
When we're talking about brokerages, yeah?
I'm sorry. I'm going to give you one final question because I know we're way over on time.
Sure.
And this is more of a functionality question. So what is the advantage of, because of course there's many people in many places where people can buy websites today. A couple of people have asked, what's the advantage of kind of doing it as a one-stop shop where they work with you for their website plus, integrating it with their CRM?
That's a really good question. One advantage is it's included. Our $33 a month for IXACT Contact is actually a phenomenal price. Just when you look at the power, the breadth and the power of our CRM solution, the email marketing platform that comes with it, the monthly newsletter, right? The fact that you can get an agent website, a beautiful, responsive website with 16 pages of preloaded content, lead capture forms, and so on. It's like, why wouldn't you? But you don't have to. And that's something I should point out because people get confused. If you've already got a website that's working for you, you don't have to use ours. We can do automated lead capture from your existing website. Actually, we can do automated lead capture from anywhere. If you're buying leads from Zillow or Homes.com, or you get leads off your website, we call it automated lead capture. So that's not an issue. You don't have to use our website. Our website is there really for agents who don't have a website today, or they've got one, but it's 10 years old and it's looking every day of its age. They need a new one. Is ours the best website out there? I'm not going to say that. There are literally dozens, probably hundreds of realtor website providers. They all have their unique strengths and weaknesses. Ours is just, it allows you to have one less bill you have to pay each month on your credit card. And there are some integration advantages, the ability let's just leave it at that. There's integration advantages. Same reason why you would use IXACT Contact. There's a benefit because you don't need Constant Contact or MailChimp. With IXACT Contact, you don't need an outside third-party email marketing platform. So the more you can get an all-in-one solution that works, you save money, and there's integration benefits that really sort of make life simpler, create synergy. That's the short answer.
Makes sense. One less person to talk to and one less thing to go wrong, right?
Exactly.
As we demonstrated today, sometimes those things can go crazy. So I think we'll close it out there. Again, just make sure that you look at that offer, the exactcontact.com/RETECH or RETech. And if you are a rookie agent, see that special offer for 6 months free. That's even better. So hope that this was helpful for everyone, and good luck. There's many opportunities for you to reach out to IXACT Contact and get the answers that you're looking for. So thanks everyone, and everyone have a great day and happy selling.